Good morning, and welcome to the Canada Puck Podcast, your weekly recap? I think we're on weekly right now. What's going on in the world of sports, specifically hockey, and more specifically Canada. And if you're following along and paying attention, that means we're talking about 50% of the teams that... I don't know where I was going with that. I'm just going to finish the intro. I'm your co-host, Mick. You can find me on Twitter, or X, as the kids call it, at Profit Mick? Yeah, Profit Mick. And I'm joined ever by my lovely and talented co-host, the guy upstairs. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, like, just anything is like that nowadays. Like, I saw some meme of someone in this, like, every teacher in the 90s, and it's like, it's not like you're going to carry a calculator around in your pocket all the time. And I'm like, well, showed them. Yeah. So, people, at one point in time, we didn't carry around the little computers with us all the time. So we actually, like, had to learn how to do math, just in case we had to do math with a little calculator in our pocket. And now I've just got something that answers, like, everything. So, yeah. These people are also the people who are like, oh, you want to look something up? Those books back there? Yeah, that's how you search it. So, damn. Yep. Damn. Tell us more about the war, Grandpa. Yeah, there's several. At one point we were talking about wars, and I was like, how many wars? There's like 19 going on in the world, so good job, us. But we're speaking about a very specific war going on right now between the state of Florida and the province of Alberta, and that is, of course, the Stanley Cup Finals, guys. We'll just cut to the chase a little bit here. I don't know if there's any other housekeeping headlines we could talk about, but specifically we're back Sunday morning. We're doing a reaction podcast to the Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals last night, rather than kind of doing a preview. So you guys can listen to all our fun, delicious takes, and we'll go from there. Yeah, very nice. I think we just get right into the game if there's other housekeeping stuff. So, Game 1, last night, 3-0, Florida. Bobrovsky stones the Oilers. The poor Oilers, they tried their best. They had their 65 shot attempts, 33 shots on goal, but it was not enough to rock Bobrovsky. Instant reactions. Sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw a couple early on last night. The Panthers had struck first, and then like the Oilers had two. Their second one coming again at the end of it was the first period, right? They got it when it was. I mean, there was only a couple seconds left, maybe 20 seconds. But again, I mentioned previous that just really disrupts, man. Like if you could just shift it forward and start, like I said, the next period on a power play, I think it'd be so much more beneficial. But time and time again, it just seems like it's just such a disruptive force, right? I don't know. It just kind of doesn't favor the team getting the power play in those situations, right? So we saw that there. Does it sputter out the offense? Maybe. I know hockey isn't that simple, right? But it is just one of those key observations. But yeah, Oilers played relatively well. But Florida is kind of just that team where they are going to play your level of hockey, except for maybe one or two plays. They're going to be a little bit more opportunistic, and you have to stop them on those chances. The Leafs, that's how they beat the Leafs in 5 or something like last year. It was the Leafs played better, the Leafs played better, and then it would be one or two. Carter Verhaeghe got a breakaway pass, comes up the middle, shoots and scores, and all of a sudden now you're down 1-0, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? We were winning that game. It just seems like they're very, very opportunistic, and that's kind of how the Oilers are going to have to step up and play, is they're going to have to take chances of those opportunities, right? When McDavid is alone in front of the net on a power play with 4 guys, and he's doing some of the most incredible edge work, and he works from one side of the net all the way back around the other side to get a shot and get stoned by Bobrovsky. Those are kind of those opportunities, those moments that you're going to need to score. You're going to need to outplay them. You're going to need to get lucky, right, to beat this team, because they just kind of seem like they just have that little bit of shit opportunistic luck going on with them, right? And they're not going to make mistakes, so you kind of have to capitalize, the one or two mistakes that the Panthers make, you have to be capitalizing on them, right? You can't be throwing a weak shot on net, right? You can't be letting Bobrovsky make the big plays and stuff like that, right? So it's definitely not done, but after last night, it's definitely one of those things where like, it's going to be a tough hill to climb now for the Oilers, right? To come back and take 4 of 6. Yeah. Oh, I'm only citing it because that's like the only time I've watched the Florida Panthers in the last like 27 years of my life, right? So I have like a 5-game sample size. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Mm-hmm. Certainly. Yeah, and it probably comes down to more depth scoring too, right? Like it can't just be the McDavid, right? McDavid has Barkov, who's probably one of the best defensive players. Like people are throwing around the word ever. I don't know if we have to give him that yet, but like he's one of the best defensive forwards we've seen in a very long time, and he's going to do a good job shutting down the McDavids. You've got the Kachucks to kind of drown out the Draisaitl's, and now it's going to be now we're talking the grit. Can the Nugent Hopkins, the Hyman, can these guys step up, right? Zach Hyman, you had 50 goals this year, right? Can you get a couple in the series, right? Is the power play flowing, or is it just like a function of standing in front of the net and having McDavid throw shots off of you? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, well said. In terms of that, so power play of the Oilers, we talked about that. We touched on that. We touched on Stuart Skinner. I thought was fine, right? He obviously didn't have the big highlight saves, but he also wasn't as challenged because really once Florida scored their first goal and then whatever they got, it was like 4 minutes or almost identical times, 3-something into the second they scored again, right? So it's almost like they kind of lull you into that full sense of security. They kind of bring the pace of play down a little bit and then they kind of score, right? So interesting to see kind of watch the start of the next couple periods in game 2. And like again, just wasn't really challenged. I don't think they were pushing the puck when they had it. They were kind of more playing a possession game, trying to run the clock down, just do nothing special, right? So it was more of like the third, fourth lines when you'd see like the Kyle Posos of the world or something out there. They were kind of almost generating more of the offense, and everyone else was just kind of playing more of like a sit back and wait kind of game. We've got this. No, we're not, let's not shoot ourselves in the foot or anything like that. So it's tough to put this on Skinner because it's definitely not his fault, right? Like he did what he did, but he also wasn't really challenged because that was just the nature of the script of the game. So yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure. Okay, cool. So that kind of touches on that. We've touched on the Darnell Nurse basically screw up, not putting a stick on the ice, allowing that was the second goal, right? Yeah, sitting on the bench saying like, "Oh, that's on me, that's on me," and everyone's like, "Ah, what a great leader Darnell Nurse is," and I'm like, yeah, yeah. Yeah, very much so. The other thing going on the other side of the ice that and I guess just another note on Bobrovsky is apparently he does. He's a guy that likes rest. So the more rest, he's one of these sweaters. his hydration levels, his fluid levels. He's one of these guys that you hear about that loses like 10 to 15 pounds of kind of water during a game. He just is profusely sweating. So the closer the games are together, the more tired, the more worn down, the more you can beat him. So if the Oilers are looking to strike back, Monday night is probably the time to do it, right? Hit him because he's going to be a little bit more tired. This break from Monday to Thursday, even there's a little bit of travel in there, he's going to have a better chance to kind of get that recovery process. And then again, you get that 3-day break from the Thursday to the Saturday. So it's going to advantage Bobrovsky. So apparently Bobrovsky plays well just with more rust. And again, this is just coming from the Leaf series last year, where when the Leafs seemed like they had a chance and they'd finally beat them, they'd then have like a 3-day break. They came back and Bobrovsky looked like he was all world, but top of his game again, right? So Monday is the night to strike, right, for the Oilers, if that's kind of what you're going for. Try and split that series on the road. So it's going to be a little bit more important, and not only that, but just from the Bobrovsky factor, right? These are the moments you kind of have to capitalize on, because looking at the schedule here up on the screen, after that, you're looking at least 3 days between, right? There is no rest. He hasn't been tested. He's had the breaks. He's coming in fresh. He doesn't have the nagging injury that he's playing through. So, unfortunately, you're not going to have, more than likely, like a broken down Bobrovsky. You're going to have to beat him legitimately, right? And just, unfortunately, one of his strengths is that rest and recovery, so... Yeah. And like hammer Thursday and Monday are now like must wins for the Oilers, right? There is no, if it's 3-0, we still have a chance. No, like you have to go now, because again, maybe factor in a little bit of travel time, maybe dehydrates people. I don't know. Do rich people get dehydrated on planes, or is that just like a poor person thing? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So, sure. No. Yeah, look at this. So I actually have playoff point leaders here just pulled up. So Connor McDavid leads the pack with 31. Then we have Leon Draisaitl with 28, Evan Bouchard with 27, Vincent Trocheck with 20, Nugent Hopkins with 20. So they have 4 of the top 5 spots. And then you get the Kachuk, Barkovs, and Verhaeghe, all 19, 19, 18. And I guess we should mention Zach Hyman is also in that conversation with 18 points. So I don't hate that play. That's an interesting perspective for sure. What was it before? Like, what kind of jump did last night give it? Anything significant? Okay. Okay. Sure. Sure. Certainly. Cool. Gambling. That's kind of, I kind of gave my quick look ahead. Do you have anything else to add on reaction from last night? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Ryan. It's one of those tidbits. I'm gonna write that down. Ryan McLeod and over. Is that be like an over maybe? Game 2? Over game 2. Just things. Yeah. Certainly, yeah. Yeah. Nice. Okay, cool. So that depth scoring, that's it. Is that kind of the end of bow on that? Yeah. Okay. Yep. I didn't know. Oh. I did see that. Yep. There we go. Yeah, so Blizzard, Utah Hockey Club, Mammoth, Outlaws, Venom, and Yetis. So, Venom, like, we can just get rid of the Venom, right? That's like arena football level of name. Yeah. No. Yeah, it is weird that they. Oh, I guess only Outlaws. So more than likely, they add to the list of 6 national teams that don't end. Their nickname doesn't end in an S. Piece of. Yep. Yeah. Well, it's because if you live in Utah, once you marry into those families, you have a lot of in-laws. So everyone who's not related to you is an outlaw. So they're just trying to distinguish these hockey players aren't part of our culture. So they're not allowed in the temple. They're just trying to I think distinguish that. So yeah, classic Utah. Other hockey news points. That was a big one. I think there's some draft talk going on right now with some prospects. Nothing standing out there too much. Yeah. Unless you're the Florida Panthers and you just go and collect a bunch of first-round picks that have failed in other organizations and they all magically come together with your team. And I was like, see, it's easy to build a squad. You just have to get Sam Bennett, former 4th overall pick, for a third. It's just what role. It's just what role you have. If you're out of the top 6 in terms of forwards on your team, your life's just simple and chill. Even if you're number 6. I know everyone praises the Zach Hyman signing in Edmonton, but there's a chance that doesn't work out, right? He goes to another organization and he's not putting up these numbers, right? It's very happenstance that he came to this team and the Oilers just happened to build their forward group to kind of push him down into again, he's a top 6 forward for them, but not really. He's not one of the most important 6 forwards. He just happens to be a nice complementary piece, right? So I don't know. It's Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or what's on like Sam Reinhart? Actually, there's a damning pick I saw, and it's like of the 2014 or something Buffalo Sabres roster. Man, they're stacked. They're absolutely elite. Like got like Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart, and now all these players play elsewhere, and the Buffalo Sabres are just abysmal franchise. And I was like, how did you screw that up? Like, oh, Ryan O'Reilly was there, right? Like, oh, you're just like, you're deep down the middle. You've got all these wingers and just nothing. I'm like, how does that turn into Owen Powers? You're like, we could have this, or that's like a really bad like rebuild in like a dynasty football league or something like that. Someone takes like a Patrick Mahomes, they're like, oh, okay, boys, I'm gonna go fishing here. He ends up with like Anthony Richardson, and you're like, I just feel like you downgraded there, bud. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Okay, cool. A little football talk here on the Canada Puck podcast. Other notes I have written down: coaching disparity. Going back to the finals just for a hot second. Paul Maurice has coached something like over 1,000 NHL games. So he's trying to win a Stanley Cup after coaching 1,000. Oh, he's been behind the years. He's been grinding this out for years. Knobloch, 78. So probably the biggest discrepancy in coaching experience in NHL history. So we'll see how that plays out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. I've been here before. I actually have been here before. That's why I'm acting like it. So okay, yeah, that's fair. I mean, uh, now for the Oilers fans that are sitting there pulling your hair out at that moment or at that comment, Dan Balsama, the new coach of the Seattle Kraken, I believe when he won his first cup with the Penguins back in like 2014, maybe I'm off on the year, I do think they beat Barry Trotz. So again, long, upstanding, experienced coach versus like the new guy. So there is recent precedent within the last like decade of these things. So coaching experience doesn't quite matter. So and we're actually seeing that with basketball too, right? The coach for the what's his name? Joe Mazzulla, the Celtics coach. He's only been there for a couple years or something like that, and he's got something like 30, 40 playoff wins or something like that. Like something stupid, like and potentially an NBA championship. And like Boston fans hate Joe Mazzulla because they think he's a terrible coach. So despite of him, the players are out on the floor. You can watch them, and they call their own assignments, and they're like coaching themselves, and he's just like chilling, just doing his own thing. But he's gonna get to put his name on the championship as a NBA championship. So sometimes coaching is important. Sometimes it's the least important thing in the world. Okay. Cool. All right. And then the other thing I have written down, my last note, is 20-year anniversary of the Red Mile. So 04, Calgary made the Stanley Cup Finals against Tampa Bay Lightning. There was jubilation. There was 17th Avenue in Calgary was referred to as the Red Mile at that point. Bars were thriving. There was tons of action. Everyone was showing their tits for Kippersoft. Oh, baby, let's go. And since then, so in the last 20 years, this is actually the 6th time the Stanley Cup Finals has featured a Canadian team. So 25% of the time, a Canadian team makes the Stanley Cup Finals. And I'm like, if I told you that, that doesn't seem like the math checks out for some reason. Now, granted, the beginning of those 20 years was the Flames, and then the Oilers, and then the Senators. So, like, we got really front-loaded there for a little second, right? And it's only been, like, subsequently, like, the little teams have been sprinkled in. But, like, if you would have told me in '04, the next 25% of the time for the next 20 years, a Canadian team will be in the Stanley Cup Finals, I'd be like, that sounds actually pretty solid. Like, there's less teams. There makes up less than 25% of the league. Let's go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There you go. Yeah, I could see something like that happen too. Not saying it's not happening, but if you were put a bunch of money on a future bet for the Panthers to win the Stanley Cup Finals, oh baby, you're getting some good series prices right now. There's definitely an easy way of hedge and make some money and walk away with some money in your pocket. So you just got to figure out how do you want to take that money? Is it just one lump sum? Take the Oilers on a low day on a Sunday morning? Do you wait for game 2? Do you just start individually betting on Oilers game prices and see if that works? I don't know. It's up to you. But you have to put a bunch of money on the Panthers yesterday for this strategy to work out. So. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was like, do I just take the money and run at this point and just ride it out? And I don't know. But with that, that's all I got. I think that's all I got for hockey talk at the moment. You have anything else? Which ones specifically? Uh, yeah, yeah. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, the only ones that stand out for me are those really annoying Boston Pizza ones. So like, we should stop being so mean to each other. We should all win a cup because Canada team's terrible. And like, there's a guy driving on a TV. And I'm like, who gets that upset? Are people getting that upset? Like, it's not like we're losing like game 7 and like McDavid is like ripping his jersey off to reveal a Panthers jersey. Like, we're not like, we're driving over TVs. That seems kind of irrational. So, like, to the point where I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm not going to go to Boston Pizza for a while. That commercial's kind of annoys me. Oh, man, a Boston Brute? Like, on my birthday, I usually go get a Boston Brute. That's like my little treat for myself. But like this year, maybe I go somewhere else. Yeah, that's a shame. Cool. Any gambling advice? Want to do that? Okay. I was going to do this actually on the pod yesterday, but let's do it today. Yeah, I also have one pick for $100. All right. Well, I'm definitely on the other side of that. I've already done that, and it got better price actually. Apparently, if you do it before game 1, oh baby, oh so much better. I'm gonna take Oilers plus 195 to win the cup, all $100. Let's go. Pew pew. Yeah, based on where we're at, I'm about minus 150 or 250. You're like minus 125, I think, on the postseason. So not doing so hot. But if I win, I get $45. So it's pretty exciting. You're down minus 80. So not our best series of gambling advice, but yeah. Cool. Awesome. And like I said, though, if you are looking individual games, I don't know, an over. Bobrovsky's a little dehydrated, guys. Game 2. Over and Oilers win. I like that play. If we were to kind of look ahead and you're like, where should my money go for the future? And then, I don't know. We'll see. I wouldn't bet on Game 3 till Game 2's in the history. I don't even think you can bet on Game 2 till Game 3's in the history book, so. Okay. Awesome. Solid. Woman of mystery. Yeah. That doctor did very nice work, so congratulations. That's, yeah. Also, yeah. I don't know. They're pretty perky. She's pretty skinny, and they're pretty big and perky for them to be, like, natural. So, very few are blessed with it. So, into the breast implant directory. You know what? I spend most of my day there anyways, so this is perfect. Let's just knock off 2 birds with 1 stone. Yeah, I agree. Canada Puck Babe of the Year, just Canada Puck Babe. You have a strong case to just, you are the Hall of Fame. They come in, you're sitting at the front desk, there's nothing else. It's just a small building built out in the Badlands of Drumheller. She is the Hall of Fame. So, Mystery Lady, that's taken the internet by storm, and oil cans. I've seen that one thrown away. Mrs. Oil Cans, schwing. Awesome. I'm glad we talked about that, because I was like, it's weird that we haven't talked about this. But I guess we haven't talked since, so that makes sense. Solid. Sweet. So that wraps up a Canada Puck reaction podcast. Only that. Sunday morning reactions. Felt pretty good. Maybe we start doing this more in the future? Wink. Cool. With that, though, we'll be back. Oh. We'll be back next week? Sure. Yeah, we'll talk. Maybe we'll talk after Game 3 on Thursday, if things haven't changed too much drastically in your life. Or we could do, like, early-ish Saturday, because I might have something to do, but go from there. Awesome. But until then, we say, party on, Grant.